Recently I made a video where I tried to beat every Mario game without moving, and I said this for Super Mario Odyssey: if we roll along to these frogs and capture them, we're actually stuck. Because the only way to move in these frogs is by the joystick. Well, I was curious, how many kingdoms are actually possible? Basically, the rules are simple. If one kingdom isn't possible, then we move on to the next one, and by the end, we see which kingdoms are possible and which are not. Obviously, I'm allowed to move the joystick in menus, and for the rest of the rules, go watch the last video. Anyways, let's get right into the first kingdom. As I already established, Cap Kingdom isn't possible. This time I tried to do frog skip, but I fear, yeah, this isn't possible. This kingdom is actually pretty interesting because I thought we were going to get stopped right here because we have to move in this chain chomp to open up the first moon. But not to worry because we have the power of fucking shaking ferociously. A lot of captures have a little extra ability you can do with motion controls, and chain jump seems to be one of them, so we can get the first moon. Our next goal was to try and fight Madame Brood, so to get up to her I tried to do dino skip, but there is no way to move the dino without the joystick. That's no big deal, we'll just go around and do it the intended way and... Sand Kingdom is this big flat open world with not a lot of elevation, so I can say that this is actually pretty easy. I first grabbed this pretty easy moon and then decided to try and go for the secret shot moon, which was, interesting. I got a few more easy moons and then tried to get this moon on the pillar. When I captured a bullet, I couldn't move, so I had to line it up before capturing, then uncapture at the right time. I then, for some reason, decided to get this seed moon, which was horrible because I couldn't move while holding the seed. So I had to throw it, dive over to it, and pick it up again, and repeat the process until I made it to the pot. I was running around collecting stray moons on the floor because I actually couldn't progress through the story, because for some reason the next moon we need to collect is behind a paywall, 2D wall. I ran around and collected a bunch of simple moons, plus the sheep moon, collected my seeds, and completed Sand Kingdom. This kingdom is so not possible. Basically, we start off in this little isolated area, which is away from the main area with all the moons. And the only way to get out of this area is by either doing a jump up here or unzipping this part, which we both can't do without moving. So we can collect like 2 moons. Wooded Kingdom is one of the most interesting kingdoms we've come across. I started off with collecting this rock moon and then trying to catch this bunny, which is already really annoying to catch, never mind doing it without moving. I then bought a moon and took an embarrassingly long time to jump up this waterfall until I just decided to go and answer the Sphinx's questions. I tried doing the fuzzy sub area, which if you didn't know was fully 2D and it doesn't allow us to move our camera around, which means for these moons we had to do the whole thing without turning around, which became really silly. Next was Deep Woods, which I intentionally went down and didn't accidentally fall down. I collected most of the moons in here and went back up and attempted to get over here. In normal gameplay, what you need to do is either use an up route to get through this maze and out the other side, or make a nice little jump over here. We can immediately cross off the up route idea because when you capture one, there's zero way to move in it. So my only option was the jump, and I don't think it's happening. I attempted for a good 40 minutes before I decided it wasn't possible, and I started to collect purple coins for this moon. After collecting it, I ran around and gathered a few more stragglers and then got stuck. I was needing 3 more moons to complete this kingdom, and I just couldn't think of any more to gather. I was diving around Deep Woods and ran into the coin coffer, who I'd completely forgotten about. If we can find a way to move him, we could collect this moon over here. When you have him captured, shaking him makes him spit coins out in a circle, which helps us in no way. I realized something though. The coin coffer runs away from us before we capture it. So if we can quickly guide him towards this plant and capture him, we can make this plant grow. After a while, I got him near the plant and started spraying. I collected the moon and then realized I could get the hint art moon. This would count as another moon towards Wooded, and it's in Sand Kingdom, which, as I mentioned, is really flat. I collected this moon, then I was stuck again. 1 more moon. I needed 1 more moon to finish this kingdom, and nothing was coming to mind. Until something did come to mind. There's this moon up the back corner of Deep Woods where you're supposed to capture the dino and break these blocks so you can ground pound this little area and collect the moon. But you're probably thinking, Magic, I thought you said it wasn't possible to move in the dino. How are you supposed to get the dino? Oh, the dino moves in deep woods. That is your exact thought, and I know it. I guided the dino over to these blocks, which was honestly really scary, and I let it break it, and I got the final moon of Wooded Kingdom. I actually don't think there are any more moons we can physically collect here, but if you want to prove me wrong, you should totally join my Discord. There's a link in the bio. This kingdom doesn't have any moons for us, but it does have a face-off with Bowser. This fight was actually basically the exact same as normal, just a bit more clunky. It literally took me like 2 minutes to beat him. Lost Kingdom is a kingdom which is pretty small but packed with moons. I first attempted to do Klepto skip and yeah, nah. I went and saved Cappy from Klepto and then immediately died. I'm not gonna really talk about this kingdom because it was stupidly easy to get all the moons I needed, except this stupid cave moon. I don't know why I'm complaining. I didn't need to do it. Metro Kingdom is a city with tall-ass buildings, and it's not easy to navigate. I dove through the kingdom collecting this moon that's on the swaying thing, and I got inside City Hall. Inside City Hall, we're supposed to navigate up these platforms so we can get to the top. Now, this would still be pretty hard without moving, but we physically can't make any progress because we aren't allowed to go into first person in City Hall. So this one little issue deems the whole of Metro Kingdom impossible. This kingdom feels a lot more linear than other kingdoms, which slightly limits what we can do here. I rolled through the kingdom and got to the main underground village. I first collected this moon right near the entrance, then went into one of the sub-rooms. These sub-rooms have 2 moons in each of them, 1 extra moon and 1 main moon. In the first room I went in, we can only collect the main moon as we can't move after capturing Goombas. Similarly, in the next room, we can only get the secondary moon because we can't move when capturing the Typhus. Surprisingly, in the next room, we can actually get both moons, but they ain't easy. This room consists of these wind tornado things which lift you up. The problem with these is they don't allow you to turn in the air without the joystick. Also, the paths in this area are really thin, so at some points I couldn't even go in first person to turn around. So this first moon was pretty hard to get. But even harder is the boss moon at the top. This boss fight is against Rango, who we definitely faced in Lake Kingdom. Usually this fight isn't too hard because all you gotta do is jump on Rango's head a few times and he dies. But when you have limited mobility, it's stupidly hard. Another thing which makes this fight even more horrible is that the whole arena has an ice floor, which obviously makes us slide. The problem with this is that we can't go into first person when sliding, so there are very minimal moments we can turn around. So yeah, this was very dumb. With that moon collected, we can now move on to the 4th room, and we can't go into first person. I went and talked to Captain Toad and bought a moon from the shop. Then I got this chest moon and the ground pound moon, and I was down to 1 moon left. I couldn't find any more moons to collect, which was really starting to worry me, until I saw it. This kingdom is like Lake Kingdom if we weren't locked into a little area. I really thought water was going to be a problem because we can't go into first person water, but if we float to the sea floor, then we can go into first person just fine. With this knowledge, I collected this chest moon and then took this rocket to the sub area where we can simply get both moons. I bought a moon and then tried getting this rocket flower music note moon. It was surprisingly easy. I just had to line myself up before collecting the rocket flower, and then I collected all the notes. I then went to go and capture a Gushion because I thought we could probably move in a Gushion but not turn, but I was wrong. You see, the Gushion has a shake move which makes us shoot water out in a circle, and for some reason when he finishes the move, he turns ever so slightly to the side. So with the Gushion, I could painfully turn around and move like normal. With this ability, I unlock the rest of the moons with ease, and we can move on to our next kingdom. This kingdom is full of Pepto-Bismol, which basically works the exact same as lava. And the problem with lava is as soon as we touch it, we are immobile and forced to watch Mario die. I first collected a few moons in this first area and then went and fought Spear. Even without moving, this boss is a joke. Although I did take 1 heart of damage, so everyone blame me in the comments. I ran around collecting a few basic moons before I was faced by this Pan-Bro part. Normally what you have to do is capture this Pan-Bro and destroy these cheese blocks so you can pull this lever and open up this moon. Now, the problem I was facing was there was no way to move in the Pan-Bro. I first tried throwing the pans from where I was standing, but they weren't getting far enough. I then tried multiple things for an hour and a half, before I realized something. If I capture and uncapture the pan bro, he moves very slightly backwards. So I sat for a grueling 10 minutes uncapturing then recapturing till I got the pan bro up to the cheese, and then I flicked the lever and collected the moon. I then climbed this little plateau and captured the meat at the top for the big bird to steal me. I collected the first multi-moon of this video, which is crazy, and we flew back to the Odyssey. At this point in the game, the kingdom switches up and we're advised to go towards this cave all the way to the left. I dove over there very slowly and realized we can't even make it to the cave entrance. So now we kind of have a wooded kingdom type of situation where the only moons we can collect are the ones in this little area. I decided to first try the outfit room, and yeah, this isn't happening. I ran around and collected a few moons I had missed and then hit a roadblock. I needed 4 more moons to complete this kingdom, and I have no clue where to find any. I still had the hint art moon which I could collect, but that was it. I was jumping around until I saw this stupid piranha plant room. Basically in this room there are these alternating tiles on the floor which rise and sink into the pepto, and what our goal is to collect these 5 moon shards, and we have to do it all without moving. This sub area was so difficult because I had to be so precise. I ended up a lot of the time falling into the pepto, and you know what I already explained. One thing I will say that was very nice was the moon shards stay collected even after you die, so that was a relief. I finally finished this room after 30 minutes and was immediately stuck again. Right outside this sub area there was a timer challenge which was a bit difficult, but now all I needed was 2 more moons. Literally just 1 sub area would suffice, and you already know I found one. There's this sub area which you're supposed to take a lava bubble to, but we can't move in a lava bubble. I had to meticulously backflip across these mini pillar things in the lava, but eventually I did get to the sub area and I beat it without too much hassle and completed Luncheon Kingdom. This kingdom is a very simple kingdom, similar to Cloud Kingdom, with it serving one purpose: fighting the dragon. Can I just say, this was insanely hard for no reason. Basically, the way the dragon works is he'll shoot these discs at us, which are easy enough to dodge. Then he'll shoot his lasers on the ground, which is also easy enough to dodge. Then you can run up to his head and flick these swords off and ground pound his head. He has 3 phases, with each of them getting more difficult. Now, the main issue I had is I never had enough time. If you take too long flicking the swords off his head, he'll glow purple then deal damage to you. Because I had like 0 ability to move, I took ages trying to get the swords off his head, and I also couldn't dodge it because again I had limited mobility. But you know, after 2.5 hours of attempts I did it. This kingdom, compared to other kingdoms, is a lot more linear, even more than Snow. Bowser's Kingdom has these little islands with spark pylons connecting them, and each of these islands pose a different challenge. I started off in the first area, dodging past these Goombas and reaching the pylon. Then we go to the second area and faced with our first big issue, the Pokeos. These cute little guys are the main gimmick of this kingdom, and they allow us to scale massive walls. They don't allow us to move though. You see, if I wanted to scale any wall, I had to get the Pokeo near the wall before capturing it. So I did this for this wall and proceeded on to the next area. In this area, if I wanted to proceed, I had to kill this stairface ogre. This guy wasn't too difficult, just annoying, and then I went to the next area. The concept of this area is I needed to collect 5 moon shards. Wow. There was this 1 moon shard though, which I had to lead a Pokeo over so I could smash this block with a bomb. We then go to the next area, and it's a double boss fight. Basically, we have the choice between fighting Harriet or Topper. I haven't fought any of these guys yet without moving, so I picked Harriet first. Basically what she'll do is fling bombs at you and you have to hit them back at her. Then you jump on her head 3 times and she dies. Next is Topper, and oh boy, let me tell you. Basically I had to hit all 1,000,000 of his hats off his head and then jump on his head. The problem with this is that he'll start to run away once he loses all his hats. So I had such a hard time catching up with him. Although it still didn't take me too long and I beat both the bosses. The next area we'll go to wasn't too hard until this big wall. Remember what I said like 5 seconds ago about how we had to get the Pokies to the wall before we captured them? Well, we can't move this Poki at all. And there's literally no other way for us to go, so Bowser's ain't possible. Rolling through this kingdom is actually not too bad. It's pretty open with a lot of obstacles in our way. So now all I had to do was get through Moon Cave and we got stuck right at the start. Because in this first section we're supposed to fly through this with Parabones, we can't make any progress. I also tried Moonskip, but there was zero way this was ever happening. So out of the 14 kingdoms, only 8 of them are possible without ever touching the joystick. So I hope you enjoyed, because that was, yep.